Hello and welcome back to House Bunnington, the channel where we talk about technology and bunnies. Today's topic is going to be on the technology side of things, as I give an update to the 4090 review that I did a couple months back. And for the most part, I'm happy to report that there's nothing to report. The 4090 has maintained its excellent performance over the past few months, and I've had zero issues with thermals or anything else really. However, that doesn't mean that we don't have anything to talk about, because Cyberpunk 2077 at the beginning of this month had an update that added DLSS 3 frame generation. Now, for those of you that don't know what that means, I'll go ahead and read what NVIDIA says. Boost performance by using AI to generate more frames. DLSS analyzes sequential frames and motion data from the new optical flow accelerator in GeForce RTX 40 series GPUs to create additional high-quality frames. Now, that sounds like a whole lot of market speak to me, so let me just dumb it down a little bit. Basically, what it's saying is that the GPU has some special hardware in it that takes some frames, and then it adds frames between them that the GPU itself makes up. Now, supposedly, it's going to maintain all the momentum from one scene to another so it doesn't look all janky and weird when you get these new frames. However, let's actually put it to the test and see how it fares in real life. And here we have Cyberpunk 2077's built-in benchmark. Frame generation on the left, off on the right. Everything's up to the highest settings, and DLSS is set to quality. Now, one of the things I did notice about this right away was that the spunky monkey sign above the bar there. The frame generation seems to add more luminosity to it for some reason. Also the 18 plus sign. But aside from that, there's not a whole lot of difference here. As this thing runs through the benchmark, you'll notice that for the most part, both of these scenes seem to be the same. I did not manage to match them up exactly, unfortunately, but it's close enough. You get the idea. Of things that I have noticed with this, just that spunky monkey sign like I mentioned before, and the volumetric fog in some of the areas here is different between these two scenes as well, but I don't think that this benchmark is exactly the same every time anyway, so it's probably more down to the benchmark instead of the technology itself in that instance. Still though, great frame rate here. I just happen to be a fan of a channel on YouTube that has 4K walkthroughs of Tokyo in Japan, and so I figured I'll do a 2K walkthrough of Night City here for this next part. And while I'm doing that walkthrough, you can take a look at how the DLSS frame generation changes the scene in the sense that it really doesn't. I am very impressed with this technology. It's adding a lot of FPS, so sometimes 30, 40, maybe even 50% more FPS, and the hit to the image quality is negligible. I have noticed almost nothing. Extra luminosity on some of the signs a little bit maybe, but other than that, pretty much nothing. Everything looks great here. Now, having said that, I approach reviews and tech topics from more of a layman's point of view than other people, so I'm not doing any pixel peeping here, and I'm not counting frames. Having said that, I don't think that most of you are either, which is why I do things the way that I do. There's a lot of other tech channels out there that get way more in-depth than I do, and if you want a more in-depth look at how this technology is affecting this scene, then I highly recommend you go take a look at some of those channels. For my part, I just want to talk a little bit about the future of this technology while I take a relaxing stroll through the city. Now, I think that one of the biggest problems that we have right now is that NVIDIA claims that the 40 series has a special little piece of hardware magic in there to make frame generation possible. Normally, I don't believe companies when they say things like, only our stuff will work with this. However, in this case, I think it's probably pretty true. We're seeing a massive amount of uplift, so it's probably hardware-based. Having said that, that's not an issue if you manage to get your hand on a 40 series card, but if you're looking for competition in the marketplace, this could really even broaden NVIDIA's lead, unfortunately. Now, don't get me wrong, I am definitely a fan of NVIDIA products, and ever since I got rid of my old HD 7950 back in the day, I've been Team Green ever since. However, I would really like to see AMD come out with something that can compete with this a little bit better. Right now, the 7900 XTX is trailing pretty far behind because of the DLSS 3 frame generation technology. That's not to say that they're not going to be able to catch up or that they're trailing too far behind in other areas. It's just that NVIDIA definitely has a leg up against the competition here. And as far as Intel GPUs go, well, theirs are still first generation GPUs, so there's a lot to be desired there in any case. So at the moment, at least, no matter how you look at it, NVIDIA definitely has the market advantage here, I'd say, with this new technology. But enough of that. Let's move on to something a little bit different now. Alright, so let's go over some of the comments and questions that I got on the videos, both the first and second part for the 4090 review. And we're going to start at the beginning and then work our way to the most recent. So we're going to start, at the oldest one and go to the most recent one on both videos. And the first person to comment was Varan Pandy 6297 3 months ago. They asked me what my PC specs were. 12900K, 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory because I couldn't afford to upgrade both my CPU and my memory standard when I was getting the 12900K. So I got a DDR4 port and 1200 watt power supply. And that's the basics, right? So yeah, there you go. It's all in an O11 Dynamic XL case. PC Games Hardware 867 said, "That's awesome. I just finally got my card in the mail Friday. Same GPU as yours. Did you get the Spectra RGB software to work? It doesn't detect my GPU." Yeah, that was a problem for me at first too. What I ended up doing was just looking it up and found that there was a developer version of the Spectra RGB software that one of the devs linked to for download that fixed the problem. Skynn, SKYNN says, "Could I use a 4x8 PCIe adapter instead of using the 3x8 that it comes with? Would it allow me to draw more power, or is that a bad idea since it came with the 3 adapter?" You can use a 4x8. For those who don't understand what he's talking about, the 4090 came with this adapter. Mine did anyway. So this is an 8-pin plug. There's 3 of them, so that's what he meant by 3x8, 3 8-pin plugs. You can use a 4x8. It's not a problem at all. I did it. I got a cable mod cable that's 4x8 and is fantastic. I really like the way it looks and it functions wonderfully. It didn't allow me to draw more power though. That seems to be something that's locked down on the board itself, but I haven't messed around with it too much, so maybe there's something else you can do with that. Okay, so if I mispronounce your name, anybody in this video, I'm sorry for that. We've got Alfrancancio? Anyway, awesome, man. I live in the UK and just managed to get one at a decent non-scalped price. Good for you. Looking forward to seeing this in person in a few days. Well, that was 3 months ago, so hopefully you've got it installed in your system and it's everything you hoped it would be. Leave a comment. Let us know how you like it. Colin Zion 2022 said, "Did you connect that RGB small cable? I have the same card, but I didn't connect it yet." RGB small cable, I'm assuming you mean, did I put a secondary RGB strip in there using the RGB header that's on the card? And the answer to that question is no, I did not. It's something that I plan to do, but I haven't gotten around to doing it yet, mostly because I don't have an extra RGB strip sitting around. This thing's bothering me. Let me fix my hoodie. There you go. That's better. Perks creepypastas. I might have to look at your channel. I like creepypasta stuff. I'm 43 now though, and I find that I don't really get scared by anything anymore. So it's not like it's not like I read them because I get creeped out by them anymore, which is unfortunate because I remember in my younger days when I could look at YouTube videos and get freaked out at night, but not anymore. It's too cynical or skeptical, too skeptical and old for that, I guess. But Perks Creepypasta said, "You install this kind of graphics card without a stand? Bruh, your PCIe port will get ripped without a graphic card stand." Yeah, I had the 3090 in here before then, and the 3090 was fine, and it weighs about the same, so I wasn't too worried about it, but I did put the graphics card stand in and discover that there's a whole other issue with that. So I've got 3 uni fans at the bottom of the case, and So we've got the fans on the bottom here, right? And then we've got the graphics card fans on the bottom of the graphics card shroud, and this part here doesn't line up with this part here. So where there's space between the fans for the mount to stand on, there's not space above. So it's, they don't line up right. So I had to take and fold a little piece of foam over to get it to make up that gap, that difference that it wasn't fitting anyway. And then I put I put it in a kind of an angle, and I got it to be just right so it'll work. But it's less than ideal. But it's supporting it now. Bytemare77, great name. Bytemare, get it? Like nightmare, but with bytes, B-Y-T-E, computer tech related stuff. I like it. It's a good name. Great video. Just got this card, and I really love it. Weird thing is, I got the 4-pin adapter. Not sure why, but I also see some with 3-pin like you got, but it's just too huge, and I'd like to get a nice smaller cable without adapters. I think you mean the cable's too huge, and yeah, it's kind of long. If you, the adapter cable's not long, it's just kind of bulky. So I think that's what you mean, is that this is going to connect, and it's not long enough, right? So you got these things just chilling inside your case. I got a cable mod cable that terminates to the plug without any sort of adapter, and it's a 4x. So you got options out there. Just get a cable mod cable, and you can even get those in whatever length you want, whatever color you like, and make your case even prettier on the inside. Although mine now, because so my 011 Dynamic XL case right there. Yeah, I know there's a wire mess back there, but if you have rabbits, you know why that's there. The 011 Dynamic XL case, you can't really see in there very good. That video's got a lot of reflection too, but also because I got some I should do a video on this, on like easy to do case mods for your case to make it different. But all I did was I got some window tint and I put it on the glass panels so to make it darker, so that really only the light portion shines through. It looks great, but I can't even see my fancy cable mod cable in there now, so that's unfortunate. Also, the one disadvantage to the cable mod cable is that I have strimmers in there, and I cannot use my strimmer with this cable. Delicious and nutritious. Hashtag not sponsored. PC Gamer Great America says, no RGB with the main light strip on the card? Question mark. Yeah, there's an RGB strip. I just don't like it. It's it says Zotac Gaming. It's not great. It's pretty. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. I guess like too corporate. I want to say almost like I don't like having I don't really like the logo being on there like that. But then again, like the Strix one had something similar and it was fine. So I don't know, whatever. I just don't like the way that one looks. Smoke That Game B9937 asks, hello, hi. What PSU do you use for this little beast? Got a 1200 watt power spec power supply. Now, power spec is Micro Center's in-house brand. I don't know who manufactures them. I could look that up, but I don't know who actually makes them, but they're branded as power spec for Micro Center. And the one that I got initially was a 1200 watt power supply. It was really loud. The fans weren't installed correctly, it turns out. I got in touch with Micro Center. They sent me a main gear power supply, which worked really good. It was much quieter. And then after going back and forth with them for a little while, we were able to determine and find out what the issue was. They sent me another 1200 watt to replace the one that I had bought as well, which was super cool of them. So I ended up with 2 power supplies out of the deal. But the second one I got is still loud. It's much quieter than the first one, but I think that it's just, the power spec's a pretty inexpensive brand, so it's not great. I wouldn't recommend it if noise is a concern for you. If not, then I would recommend it because it's had absolutely no issues whatsoever other than being loud. All right, let's see here. Wave9076 says, awesome vid. Thanks, Wave. I appreciate that. Thank you for the positive vibes, man. J Primo says, great review. I'm looking to buy parts for my first PC build. Would you be able to help guide me and let me know what else would I need? Also, I'm afraid about the 4090 burning up and destroying my PC. Is there anything I would need to get, i.e. adapters of sorts, to prevent the 4090 from burning up? Please see my parts list below. Best. Okay, so most people that do tech stuff will tell you that they don't like to tell you what you should buy. It's really up to you. Well, I remember this comment, and I didn't respond to it for that reason, but I've re-recorded this video like 3 times now, and this, I did notice when I was doing it before that you have a board on here that is a DDR4 board, but you have RAM listed that's DDR5. Actually, you know what? I should reply to this just in case you actually, in case you haven't bought it. Hey, if you have, I type very slowly. If you've not bought the stuff yet, check that board. It is DDR4 and the RAM is DDR5. Either upgrade the board or downgrade the RAM. Boop, there we go. So yeah, the board is a DDR4 board, so it's going to take DDR4 RAM. You got DDR5 RAM listed there. That's not going to be compatible. That won't work. If it were me, and I had a limited budget, I would just downgrade the RAM. If it were me and money didn't matter, I would upgrade the board. So, yeah, there you go. I mean, if you're primarily gaming, you don't need the DDR5 right now. It's not that big a deal. I play Cyberpunk at 100 FPS with with DDR4, so you're not gonna have any issue with that. Most games are either gonna be CPU bound or GPU bound more than memory is ever gonna affect it. Mood Gaming said, I was afraid the support bracket wouldn't reach. How stupid and lazy can they be to not create one tall enough, especially for the price? I agree. So I also am kind of into photography, and I got a tripod that's really good, and it's got, the way the legs extend is there's like a little twisty bit, and you twist that and it loosens it up so you can go in and out with it. And you just twist it the other way, it tightens it, and then the tripod's nice and steady. Like, I feel like they could have just made a smaller version of that. Like just the post that goes up and down with a little twists out, and then it collapse really small, but it could get pretty long and not look ridiculous. So, there's my free advice for people that are designing these things. Do the tripod thing. Jake King 7331 comes in with the most recent comment on the first video, and that was 7 days ago. It says, I've heard this card has bad coil whine and fan problems. Have you experienced any problems? Coil whine, yes. It wasn't really that bad though. It was no worse than the Strix 3090 when I installed it. And actually I think my 1080 Ti before that had a little bit of coil whine at first too. I don't know if that's really common for graphics cards. The past 3 or 4 that I've had have needed me to run them for a week before it stopped, and it was not too terrible to begin with. So, I ran it for a week, fixed it up just fine. It wasn't terrible to begin with. So there's your short answer for that one. As far as the fans go, yeah, fans are going to be loud, and so most people think that the loudness of the fan is what's annoying them, but it's usually not. Usually what's actually getting on your nerves without you realizing it is ramping. So if your fan is set to, run at 50% once the temperature hits 50 degrees, right? Just for an example. So it goes 50% at 50 degrees. So before that, it's like whatever other percentage it is, right? So let's say it was 30%, then it's going to go to 50% when it hits 50 degrees. What'll happen is your temperature will hit 50 degrees. Your fan will turn on at 50%. It'll bring it down below that 50 degrees, and your fan will then stop spinning as fast, only to allow the temperature to build back up again and therefore turn back on again. And sometimes that can happen pretty fast. So within, within a couple seconds, you're going to hear it go from one stage to the other, either up or down. That's called ramping, and it can be super annoying. So what you want to do is download a program like MSI Afterburner and adjust your fan curves manually. It takes a little bit of getting used to see like where you should get it at, but you can adjust your fan curves so that it's more constant and it's not as aggressive, and it'll help you not go insane from the ramping. Okay, so that was the last one on the first video. Let's move to the second. Here's part 2. Let's go down to the bottom so we can get the oldest ones that are 3 months ago. Clubhead7070 said you should redo this and have MSI Afterburner running to show GPU utilization and temperatures. That's a great idea. Start doing that from now on. Will this card be good with i5 13600K for 1440p gaming? Asked Black Dronzer 1. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit too much card for 1440p, I guess. Like, I use it for 1440p, but I think that might be a little bit... Yeah, it might be a little bit too much card for that. As far as the i5 13600K goes, sure, it might... I don't know if that i5 is going to bottleneck the 4090. I don't think so. The 13 series is a bit more powerful than the 12 series, so I think it should be fine. But I wouldn't, for 1440p, I wouldn't even do a 4090. Like, if you want to have access to, like, DLSS 3 and the frame generation technology, definitely stick with the 40 series. In the comment, I answered and said 30 series. You could downgrade to the 30 series, but now there's more options available in the 40 series. And I would just do, a lower level 40 series card instead. The 4090 is going to be, it's honestly too much for 1440p gaming. You don't need it. Save some money. Buy a cheaper card in the 40 series. Tay Ferguson 10. OMG, bro, you saved me. I never knew about the dual BIOS setting. I thought my card was broken because my performance was limited. I looked all over for a video explaining. Keep at this, bro. You gained an early subscriber. Thank you very much for your subscription. For those of you that aren't subscribed, please do. There will be more content coming. I've been very lax in content, but that's due to personal reasons that are outside of my control. My mom has dementia, and I've got to take care of her now. So I had to quit my day job, though. So bonus to that means that I'll have more time to do more videos. But to answer your question, or to respond to your comment, yes, there was no, I don't read the paperwork that comes with the graphics card ever. I install it and then I just do whatever and see what happens. But I remember looking up that button on Google because I wasn't sure if the green or the red mode was the go fast mode. Because I was like, well, red could mean that it's restricted, but green means go, so green must be the go fast mode. No, it's the other way around. But yeah, I looked it up myself and found out what the button did. WASD moves 9744 has 2 comments. We're going to go with the oldest one first and then that one. So my Zotac RTX 4090 just arrived today. Super pumps. Thanks for the heads up on this BIOS button. I was about to dig into the manual. I tried DLSS 3.0 frame generation on Plague Tale Requiem. I had a $1 Game Pass month, so I figured why not, and wow, frame generation is bonkers. It is bonkers. Frame generation's great. In this very video, I mentioned it and showed some examples in the Cyberpunk update. I actually didn't know that I did know that Plague Tale did it because I watched, I think it was Digital Foundry did something about it. I watched that, so I knew that it did it. I just don't know why I never bothered to look at it myself, but once Cyberpunk got that update, I sure did, and quite a difference. Hey, are you using Spectra RGB software? I cannot for the life of me get it to detect the GPU. Yep, like I said earlier, there's a specific version of Spectra. I don't know. They've probably updated it since on their website, so the main version probably works just fine now. But 3 months ago, when you made this comment, it didn't, and we needed a special version of it. And a returning commenter, Skin, says, Should I use a 4 PCI? See, now I feel terrible for not responding to these fast enough because you asked on both parts. But no, the 3 is fine, or use a 4, whichever you want. It doesn't really make a difference. This person has no picture, and it threw me off because my background's black here, and I thought that it was responsive. I was like, why is there... Anyway. Did the card hit 3 gigahertz win OC? I don't know. I didn't pay attention. When I was doing overclocks on this card, I was mostly just looking to improve my score in Port Royal. I wasn't actually paying too much attention to what the card... See, that's the thing with me. Like, I didn't care about the gigahertz. I cared about the score, so I wasn't even paying that much attention. And I should. You're probably thinking I should, and you're absolutely right. It's something I should pay more attention to. John Keane, 320. I came here for the bunny. Well, I got really good news for you, John Keane, 320. I don't think Punisher is not currently available. She is doing something, but I'm going to be making some content to put on to this channel. That's why it's called House Bunnington. I'm going to be making some rabbit-related content, mostly talking about things like why rabbits are a terrible pet for you if you don't know about them first. So learn before you adopt. Easter's coming up, and people often give bunnies for Easter presents. Don't do that. It's a bad idea because most people don't know that rabbits are incredibly destructive. They will chew up your house. BiteMare77, welcome back, BiteMare. Thanks for making a comment on both videos. It is greatly appreciated. But BiteMare77 said, just got this card and I'm extremely happy with it. However, do you know how much difference there is between the power limit, silent mode, and the OC mode? I like to keep mine on the green lamp since I prefer silence, but would be nice to know. Amazing card, by the way, so silent. I'm curious to know what country you're from, because you referred to it as a green lamp instead of green light, so I'm thinking like the UK or something like that, maybe, but that's beside the point. Again, fan curves. So you can leave it. I don't know the difference between the power settings because I don't mess with it. Honestly, I didn't bother because fan curves. So when you like it to be quiet, just adjust your fan curves. You'll be able to get it running pretty quiet just by doing that, or at least, again, not so much ramping. So even if it is a little bit louder than what you would like, you're actually not going to notice it as much as you would think. Ghost Fox with 3 X's, says, bro, nice video in first. Yeah, your first language is in English. I remember this comment, but I'm going to do my best to get through it. Bro, nice video in first. I think you mean, first of all, nice video. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But I put my advice for you and hope that's help you to made best video. So you're going to give me some advice to make my videos better. Thank you, I appreciate it. You have to convert a video not in 1080p because 21.9. My previous monitor is the same as you, but now have 5120 by 1440p. Yeah, I had a 5120 by 1440p. So you must have an Odyssey, right? Yeah, the G9. Awesome monitor. There's a new G9 coming out that's an OLED. Super excited for that one. Can't wait. I have no money. Super broke though, so I'll find a way though. If you guys want me to do a review of the OLED G9, please tell me that so that I can have an excuse to find a way to get one. Excuse me. It's very small rectangular rendering made by YouTube. Linked my oldest video in 3440 by 1440, but 4K for YouTube. GG and have fun with the 4090. I don't 100% understand your comment here, but I think what you're saying is that my render resolution was not right for YouTube to fit it on the screen correctly, and you're probably right about that. I render for my screen size. So I render for my particular setup, which is an Alienware OLED, so it's 3120 or 3120 by 1440, I think. But yeah, I don't do yeah, I don't do it for 1080p or 4K or anything. I do it for this particular I render out for this particular size because it's the size that I use. Or at least I tried to. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look at the videos again and see if they're formatted correctly for this screen. No, they're not. So, no, I did do it. Okay. I get it now. You're telling me not to do it at 1080p because it doesn't. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I agree with you then. So some of the new videos that I've made that I haven't posted up yet are the correct aspect ratio. I got you. I understand what you're saying. And then we got Funk Dat Shiz 3970. YouTube friendly way of saying, yeah, I think you guys get it. Just completed my 13900K 4090 Zotac Trinity build today. Very nice. Very nice. 13900K. That's nice. And I felt like it was underperforming. Changing the BIOS via that little button gave me about 2x performance. LOL. There is nothing about this in the instructions either. Yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't usually look at the instructions. I just, if there's something I need to know, I look it up on Google or something. Typically because the instructions aren't always great. But I'm glad that you figured that out. Excuse me. Or that, that my video helped you figure that out. That's awesome. That's why I do these things, to help people out. Learner6666 says, hey, thanks for the great video. How is coil whine on this model? Again, about a week. It wasn't bad, and after about a week, it went away completely. There's been reports of horrible coil whine on 4090s, high-end models particularly. I'm swapping my Supreme 3090 Ti for this card tomorrow. What are temps, clocks, and power draw like? I mean, how high you seen them go on gaming BIOS? I can't find YouTube videos with them stats. Thanks for the video anyway. Now time to look for TNT to finish off that half dead horse. Yeah. Sorry guys, a little bit of frog in my throat there. As far as temps go, I got up to about like 75 maybe at most. I think the temps are pretty under control. They're not bad at all. But again, that's with a custom fan curve too, so it's less aggressive than the one you get out of the box. Now, as far as like the clocks and the power draw go, again, I didn't really pay that much attention to what my phone was going off there. Again, I didn't really pay that much attention to what my power draw was or my clocks because jeez, sorry about that guys, because I don't tend to care too much about those things. I'm mostly interested in the performance and not the numbers behind the performance. So like when I'm doing testing and whatnot, I'm adjusting things to get higher FPSs in games or to get a better score in like Port Royal or something like that. So I'm trying to push the card's performance up as far as like it's, I guess you'd say more like real world performance versus like clocks and stuff like that. Because clock speeds are great and all, but I don't care. I don't care what the clock speed is as long as I'm getting what I need to get out of it. This card does what I need it to do without really paying too much attention to clock speeds and stuff. However, if you guys would like me to pay attention to those things, I will do so. Just let me know. Battle Netter, Batlinetter, however you say your name. 2 months ago said, not a fan of that RGB. The model up looks a ton better, in my opinion. I agree. We share that opinion. The model up does look a lot better. It was unfortunate that this was literally the only one available to me at the time that I bought it. That was it. That was the only game in town, sadly. Benny Pooh 80. I was expecting the Zotac emblem on the top to RGB light up, but it didn't when I got mine. Did you feel the same? LOL. Yes, I did. The logo, when you take it out of the box, that logo is like a silvery white paint. It kind of looks like the matte layer for an RGB strip. So like a lot of things that are RGB have this like white matte layer, and then the light shines through it. It looks like that, but it wasn't that, and I was sad by that. But it's also a logo, so It's not that bad. I don't really too much like logos having RGB unless it's something you can do custom, like your own logo. Like House Bunnington needs a logo. I think I need to get House Bunnington an RGB logo. That'd be good. The Duskwood Snuffer, 2569. Look, if there's a town somewhere called Duskwood and it comes in the news because there's a serial killer there, I'm gonna point him to your profile because to snuff is you know, that's a euphemism for killing people. So you might be a serial killer, sir. You might be. But anyway, the possible serial killer asks, I have the same Alienware monitor, and it's the reason I had to upgrade. Haha, 1080 Ti couldn't push games at 3440 by 1440 anymore. Sure I can. It can do 3440 by 1440. My wife's 1080 Ti did that just fine. Just only with rendering rasterization. It's not going to do it for ray tracing at all. But I mean, yeah, you made the right call though. I get it because I would be sad if I was running the 1080 Ti and the OLED. I got an FTW 1080 Ti over there. Maybe I should throw it in the system for a while and see what kind of benchmarks I get in Cyberpunk or something real quick. I might do that. If you guys want me to do that, I'll do it. Just let me know. Okay. J Pierce 1987 says, picked up one today, upgraded from my 1080 Ti, another 1080 Ti upgrade. So I'm just blown away. Such a massive difference. Yes, it is a very big difference. The 3090 to 4090 jump was pretty substantial, so I can only imagine how much a 1080 Ti to 4090 must be like, just huge leaps and bounds. Nifu 1707 or nephew in 4K question mark? No. I could do some 4K benches because I got an active HDMI cable that runs from this room to my bedroom where my C1 is. So I could do that. If you guys want me to do some 4K testing on it, let me know. I've been waiting for an OLED 4K monitor, something that's not super gigantic that's going to sit on my desk before I start doing 4K stuff, but I mean, good for sure. Fabrizio Abarca. Fabrizio. Cool name. Fabrizio. I'm planning to buy this GPU, but I have an i5 12600K. Would that be a problem? Kind of. I mean, it's gonna run as best as it can with that 12600K. Hold it back a little bit, but I mean, it'll work. But I would definitely recommend upgrading to a better processor because the 4090 is gonna get held back by an i5 12600K. You're gonna get bottlenecked a little bit from that, I would think. I mean, I haven't tried it myself, so I don't know for sure. But that's my gut feeling on that. Did you have any issue with Zotac fans either being too loud or a grinding noise coming from the fan motors? I see this complaint a lot. Asked Corin Stevens, 1593. And no problems at all. However, I've had it for 3 months now, so I don't know if it's going to develop a problem, but at the moment, no problems. Excuse me. Technologist 43. Is this Zotac noisy? I read a user feedback somewhere complaining super noisy. Again, fan curves. Adjust your fan curves. And a 42-year-old Arab. A 42-year-old Arab. That's a pretty descriptive screen name. I like it. Took me a while to find this card, and I live 15 minutes from Micro Center. I tried a 4080 and it was great, but I traded back for this to be safe at 1204K. I think you mean 124K on my OLED for a few years, hopefully. So yeah, 124K, sure. This card will do 124K all day long. No problem. So you've made a wise choice. I haven't liked all the comments on here. I just realized that. Let me do that. Just pop through here and like every comment, because every comment's important. So you gotta like them all. But that's it. That was the last comment. So thank you guys very much for leaving comments for me to read off at a much later date. I appreciate it. If you guys like this kind of thing, we'll do some more of it. I kind of had a fun time doing this, so I would like to do more of these. So let me know if it's something you like, and I will do some more of them. Once I have comment to do them with. But yeah, let me know what kind of content you guys would like to see in the future as well, and I will try to get some of it in there. I'm thinking about doing some Stream Deck stuff because right now, my financial situation is terrible, so I can't afford to buy any new hardware, unfortunately. But I can definitely do some reviews and some tutorials on stuff that I do already have. So let me know if that's something you're interested in. I'll get to it. Also, I can do some gameplay stuff. I'm thinking about doing a video playlist where I go through my Steam backlog because I have a ridiculous number of Steam games. Like, let's see here. I don't care if you guys know my Steam name, so let's go look here. Yeah, I have an absurd number of Steam games, as you can see. And I don't know how to just show how many games I have in total. But the point is that I have a lot of them, and this isn't all of them because I have a list of hidden games that I know I'm never going to play. But I will now. The idea behind that one is that I'm going to just pop that down. There we go. I'm going to make a playlist where I just go through and start playing all the Steam games in my backlog one by one and seeing what they're like. So basically, let's play videos on Steam backlog games. So let me know if that's something you guys would like to see too. But thanks for joining me for another video here on House Bunnington. And I'm sorry, no bunnies today, but Punisher is being coy, and the other bunnies don't live in this area because they don't get along, so I have to keep them separated. But let me know what you guys want to see in the future. Thanks for tuning in. Bye now.